And now it's time for Talking Back and Forth, Talking Back and Forth, Talking Back and Forth on WLS. Serving Chicago. Oh, all right. No, but you get rid of the echo. I'm done. Thank you, John McLaughlin. Issue 1. Eric Cantor, the boy wonder of the House, a man poised to take over the speakership of the House, defeated, unceremoniously trounced by some nobody. He was such a nobody, this guy named Brett, he wasn't even supported by the Tea Party. He's less than a Tea Partier, and yet he wins. What's the significance of this, Eleanor Clift?
The significance is varied. One, I think, is that capitalism won. This individual, I know the focus of the media is that he made the race about immigration and Cantor's support for amnesty, but it was much bigger than that. He actually made a very concise and clear case for a people-directed economy, in other words, a market-directed economy, as compared to the government-directed economy that is all the rage in Washington, and to some extent in both parties. In addition to that, this was a revolt by people who play by the rules, people who finance a federal government they receive very little back from in terms of benefits, and see politicians, including ultimately Eric Cantor, as just another imperial politician who believes that he can make his own rules and rewrite those rules as he sees fits. It was a revolt against that, and it was a victory for the conservative grassroots. And so now the opportunity for the establishment of the Republican Party is to stop facilitating the state-run media's narrative that there's this binary choice that everybody has to make between conservative grassroots or the country club, and consolidate post-primary so there's not the infighting the media seeks to have in advance of the Democratic Party.
I wouldn't take too much of a lesson from this. I mean, it is somewhat idiosyncratic. I mean, it's a 16 seed beating a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. It's a big deal. He outspent his opponent by 50-1 here, and he got trounced in the election. But it's going to be interpreted by the interpreters want to look at it as an amnesty thing because they don't want to think in terms of federalism and and the basic tenets of conservatism, because they don't look at the world that way.
Right. This doesn't necessarily have predictive value, but it does have takeaways that provide for some general application, and that's what I'm speaking to. And it's an opportunity for the Republicans to learn when somebody who was reportedly up 34 points going into this weekend loses by 11. There's something to be learned from what happened on the ground in Virginia.
I hope Oberweis is not getting excited over this, though. Issue 2, Hillary Clinton, fresh from her defeats on Good Evening America, Good Morning America, where she tried to show that she's like Josephine Sixpack, and was broken, had her mortgages on her houses, received the expected warm celebration in the People's Republic of Chicago. She was asked by billionaire sycophant David Resnick this question. Shut up. Jack Jamond, what do you think of that?
I think it's a delightful cackle. She also said yesterday, these 5 guys, talking about the 5 Taliban terrorists that were released, these 5 guys are not a threat to the United States. They are a threat to the safety and security of Afghanistan and Pakistan. It's up to those 2 countries to make the decision once and for all that these are threats to them. Actually, a point of order, since we still have American troops on the ground in Afghanistan, they are a threat to Americans, aren't they? This is the kind of fork-tongued foreign policy that has become the hallmark of the Obama administration, which Hillary Clinton was a key component of, and which she's going to have to answer for when she runs.
Please leave the fork-tongued references to Elizabeth Warren. They're the special province of her people, that kind of reference. By the way, the White House even backed off of Hillary's reference to the Taliban. Even the White House did. So she's off on a limb on
she
that
should
one.
Stick to just telling her hard scrabble story of trying to make $200 million after leaving the White House.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I don't want to put words in your mouth, John McLaughlin, but issue 3. Hey, Al-Qaeda just took over Mosul, the second largest city in Iraq. They got quite a little kingdom going on there, but not to worry because it's just the Middle East, and we don't know whether we shouldn't have had a status as forces agreement in Iraq, but we need one in Afghanistan, and I don't know the difference between arbitrary and capricious, do you, Jack Jamont?
We're defining terrorism down. By the way, Boko Haram kidnaps 20 more girls on Monday.
I'm out of hashtags.
Yeah, so apparently that hashtag campaign didn't work as advertised. And then you have this comment from California Democratic Rep Jackie Spire, who said basically the Taliban aren't terrorists. They're just part of the rich tapestry of Afghanistan. They were there before we engaged that country. Of course, we engaged that country to remove the Taliban. And now we're trying to negotiate a peace with the Taliban and Karzai. Again, with troops on the ground, the statements coming from congressional Democrats, the statements coming from Hillary Clinton are morally objectionable, if not treasonous.
Here's how you understand that. When they were the Taliban, they were the enemy. Now that they are the Taliban, they are somebody that we can work with.
The accent is different,
process
I noticed.
to
I
peace.
got it. Yeah.
From theatlantic.com, recent advances in facial recognition technology could give anyone sporting a future iteration of Google Glass the ability to detect inconsistencies between what someone says in words and what that person says with a facial expression. Technology is surpassing our ability to discern such nuances. In other words, we're going to have computers which will be lie detectors, and we can throw out our whole criminal justice system. A computer is going to decide whether we're telling the truth or not. Isn't that correct? Pat Buchanan.
Yeah, there's an Ohio State study that these software programs, these facial recognition software programs, achieved an accuracy rate on the order of 97% for 6 basic emotions and 77% for compound emotions. I think we should also run every political ad through this facial recognition software. It's got to pass that muster before it can be aired.
Even worse, what if your wife is saying, "Do I look fat in this dress?" And she's
Don't
got
answer.
she's got Google Glass on.
Don't answer.
She's got to take the Google glasses off.